I've seen quite a lot of people online who are trying to claim that this Vasyl Lomachenko Nicholas Walters fight was fixed. Now, I understand that fixed fights do happen in boxing. People do get paid to quit and take dives. But at the same time, fighters do quit legitimately as well without being paid. That happens all the time. In fact, I would suggest that at least when it comes to high level boxing, fighters quitting, legitimately quitting, is far more common than fighters getting paid to quit or dive. So why would you jump to the conclusion that Nicholas Walters was paid to do what he did? What evidence is that based on? I didn't see any compelling evidence, not a shred of it, to persuade me that there was foul play involved in the Vasyl Lomachenko fight. Now, from what I've seen, people have said, well, Walters has shown heart in the past, so why would he all of a sudden quit in this fight? He wasn't taking a terrible beating. Well, I've seen things like this happen before, and this is how I'll explain it to you. You might be a brave guy in a fist fight. You might be able to handle yourself in a situation like that. But when somebody pulls a knife out, all of a sudden you want to run. That is essentially, to my eyes, what happened to Nicholas Walters in the Vasyl Lomachenko fight. Walters is used to being in a position where, okay, he's going to take a few shots. He might get hurt like he did in the Denier fight. But he understands in the back of his head, I can get this guy back. His defense is not that good. I can time this guy. I know where he's at. I know I can get my own shots off. So I'm going to ride out this little storm and I'm going to come back at him because I know I've got the tools to be able to do so. But when he got in there against Lomachenko, he was in a position that he's never faced before in his boxing career. He realized that Lomachenko had tools that he didn't have. That he'd come to a knife fight with only his fists. And once that dawned on him, he thought, you know what, I got to get out of here. And I've seen some people saying, well, in the early rounds, he was doing quite a good job at evading Lomachenko's punches. And he snuck a few shots of his own in. Go and listen to my pre-fight video. This happens many times with Lomachenko opponents. In the first couple of rounds, they are keeping up with him to a certain extent. But Lomachenko's movement is so good and it's so incessant that it mentally fatigues the opponent after a while trying to keep up with it. And Lomachenko, as you saw in the Walters fight, started moving more and more as the fight progressed. And you could just see Walters just getting totally confused. He couldn't keep up with the movement. And he got spellbound. And when Lomachenko recognizes that he has his opponent spellbound, that's when he starts stepping it up and unloading more and more shots. And that's exactly what happened in the Nicholas Walters fight. That's exactly what I saw. And at that point, Walters realized, I can't win this fight. I can't keep up with the movement. I'm confused. I don't know where he's at. I can't get my own shots off. I don't want to go home to my family in a pine box or in a wheelchair. This is a dangerous sport. If I'm going to be in a tough fight, I want to be in a tough fight where I can actually get my own shots off. And I know where the guy's at. With this guy, I don't know where the hell he's at. I can't keep up. I think that's what happened to Nicholas Walters, and I saw nothing in the fight to suggest otherwise. I think that a lot of the people claiming fix and all this kind of stuff are people suffering from a severe case of sour grapes. There's a lot of tribalism in boxing, and part of the reason, I think, or maybe the main reason why the majority of people are claiming Fix is because of sour grapes and tribalism. And it was the same last weekend with Andre Ward, Sergey Kovalev. That was a competitive fight which could have gone either way. Yet when these tribalistic boxing fans didn't get the result they were hoping for and expected, they want to start crying foul. And incidentally, the two latest neutral people who have come out and shot down any claims of robbery in the Ward-Kovalev fight are Bob Sheridan, the commentator, and Frank Warren, the promoter. Frank Warren actually had Andre Ward winning the fight by several rounds. Now, I'm not saying I agree with that, but he is a neutral individual, and that's the way he saw the fight, similar to Paulie Malignaggi. It was one of those kind of fights where there were so many close rounds that you could have had it to either guy by several rounds. That's legitimate as long as you understand that a lot of the rounds that you've given to the guy were extremely tight, and you've given that guy those particular rounds for the tiniest little thing that happened in each of those rounds. If you understand that and understand that, okay, other people might have had it scored for the other guy, then it's perfectly understandable. But all the cries of robbery and all this kind of thing is silly. And indeed, all the people who are also claiming that Ward won easily, and I mean, I haven't seen that many people say this, but there are some who said it was a schooling and this, that, and the other. Those people need to pipe down as well. There was no schooling. It was a very competitive fight. But tribalism in boxing, I saw one individual, not to call him out or anything like that. One individual today on social media said that Ward's quote unquote victory over Kovalev had more to do with luck than it had to do with talent. I mean, I can't think of a more absurd statement that I've read for a long time. Luck doesn't get you through 12 rounds with somebody as talented and destructive as Sergey Kovalev. It just don't. Talent, toughness, and heart get you through 12 rounds with Kovalev. Just to get through the fight, never mind to actually be competitive and win rounds, that certainly takes a massive amount of talent. Yeah? Facts. Luck played a minimal part in Andre Ward's victory, even in Andre Ward's ability to go 12 rounds and be competitive. A minimal part. Far more to do with his talent. And here with Lomachenko, Nicholas Walters, again, it's tribalistic boxing fans desperately clutching at straws. People didn't want to give Ward credit for what he did in the Kovalev fight, and now we have other tribalistic fans not wanting to give Lomachenko credit for what he did against Nicholas Walters. Cut it out, man. If you're going to start calling foul, have some decent evidence to back it up. Where is the compelling evidence that this Lomachenko-Nicholas Walters fight was fixed? Other than just you not wanting the result that you were hoping to get. Or maybe the result that you predicted. Some people, it's not really about tribalism, it's more about protecting their own predictions. They have an ego and they don't want to be seen as getting predictions wrong. We all get predictions wrong, so get over that, man. I picked Kovalev to beat Ward. I got it wrong. You need to put your ego aside sometimes, man. I know we're all men and men do have egos, but come on. It's not that deep. So yeah, that's the way I see it, people. I don't think there was any reason at all to be suspicious about what took place in the Lomachenko-Walters fight. I just think Walters found himself in a position he's never been in before. He was in a knife fight with only his two fists. And he decided, you know what, this is too deep for me. Let me get out of this situation. And you're going to see I've seen Lomachenko fighters in the past go into mental meltdown like that. And you're going to see it happen again in the future. Because of the talent of this man. The way he moves. The way he gets you spellbound and confused with the constant, incessant in and out movement. It is, again, I have to make the comparison once again, similar to Pacquiao, because Pacquiao would do this to guys with that movement. He did it to De La Hoya. He did it to many guys where he's constantly bouncing in and out, in and out. And if anything, Lomachenko's movement is better than Pacquiao's movement. He's more technically sound than Pacquiao. Again, he's not the puncher that Pacquiao was, not as destructive, but technically better. And I think his footwork is better. So he has that ability that a young Pacquiao had to mentally fatigue the opponent just with his movement alone. Very, very talented fighter. Going to be very exciting to see where he goes in the future. I have seen some people get carried away already with Lomachenko. I've seen some people saying that Lomachenko is the most talented fighter or the most skilled fighter of all time, which is obviously way, 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 way over the top at this stage to say something like that. When you're talking about fighters in the past, some of the most skilled guys, Willie Pep and Pernell Whitaker and, all throughout history, these guys tested their skills against other Hall of Famers. That's something Lomachenko hasn't done. So we need to see how his skills seem amazing, but how are they going to hold up against Hall of Fame level fighters? Great fighters. Then we'll see what his skills are really like. So let's not get carried away here. He's doing very well at the moment. I personally like watching him. Some people say that they still, for whatever reason, don't particularly like watching him. That's fine. Personally, I do like watching him. I would like to see him in there against somebody that can actually give him a fight. I don't really like one-sided fights. I mean, sometimes certain fighters are exciting even when they're in one-sided fights, like Mike Tyson was. But for the most part, I'm not really a fan of one-sidedness, but I do find Lomachenko reasonably entertaining when I watch him. And I think the next logical step for him, if he can't get the Salido fight, because you don't know if Salido's going to accept the fight. He might say, I want a ridiculous amount of money. And Bob Arum and Lomachenko are going to be like, hell no, you ain't getting that money. For what? So if he can't get the Salido fight and avenge that defeat, then the logical next step for me would just be to fight Yuriorkis Gamboa. And that is a very sellable fight because they could just say, well, look, Gamboa beat Salido anyway. So forget about Salido in that fight. We're going to fight somebody better than Salido, a guy who beat Salido. So to hell with him, we'll fight Gamboa. Gamboa's also beat Darlys Perez. Gamboa also gave Terence Crawford the toughest fight of his career so far. So it's a very sellable fight to sell Gamboa against Lomachenko. Very sellable. I don't know what Gamboa's relationship is like with Top Rank at this point, but if they have any issues or differences, hopefully they can sort them out and get the Gamboa-Lomachenko fight on. I think that's the logical next step. I think it's very sellable. It's the most logical fight in terms of Lomachenko's resume and in terms of credibility and also in terms of money. I think that's probably the biggest fight in the division at the moment. I know Gamboa has fallen a little bit in terms of his profile and whatnot over the past year or so since the Terence Crawford fight, but still, I think a lot of people would definitely turn up and tune in to watch Vasyl Lomachenko versus Yuriorkis Gamboa. So anyway, I'm going off on a tangent, a totally different direction here and getting sidetracked. The point being, look, I can't tell you definitively that there was no foul play involved in Lomachenko Walters, and I can't tell you definitively in any fight really that there was no foul play. But extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence, and I didn't see a shred of extraordinary evidence to suggest that there was any foul play involved in Lomachenko's victory over Nicholas Walters. So that's how I feel. Let me know how you feel in the comment section below. It's your boy Hatman. I'm out.